questions, Claire, so you should know what you're talking about. Now, on this day, which is a public holiday, we ask the question, are Nigerians really having a leisure time? Again, why do Nigerians neglect or ignore leisure despite the immense social, health and economic benefits? Questions, Claire?
Questions we are asking, Ibrahim. And Nigerians are known, to crave for money-making, businesses, but rarely make out time for leisure. So how can this culture be reversed? Those are some of the questions that will form our talking point on today's edition of Good Morning Nigeria GMN. I am Claire Adelabu Abdurrasaq, thanking you again for joining us on the program this Boxing Day. Adra, Rhoda, have you opened your boxes yet?
I'm here to receive any, Claire. Good morning. Welcome to Good Morning Nigeria. It's good to have you join us again.
All right, of course, Adra, sorry about that. Maybe sooner or later. We're still in the festive, period.
I'm an optimist. I know it will come.
It
Most
will
likely
come.
It today.
It certainly will come. I know if it doesn't come from anybody, the producer is already, offering you one, off camera. All right, of course, we have our regular segments.
Yeah, they'll be coming, but for now, let's take a trip to the newsroom where Rhoda is looking resplendent. Looks like pretty refreshed.
She has
her
boxes opened.
Oh, okay.
Rhoda, have you opened your boxes?
Claire, actually, unfortunately, I didn't get any too, and I'm still optimistic that I'll get one. But then, it was indeed fun right here yesterday. I'm sure you must have heard about it. We had more than enough to eat and drink yesterday. It was indeed really exciting. If you weren't at work yesterday. Hello, good morning. Compliments and thank you for joining us. Now, President Goodluck Jonathan has again reminded Nigerians that his ambition is not worth the blood of any Nigerian, as he advised political office seekers not to hit the polity for their selfish gains. The president stated this while receiving FCT residents who paid him the Christmas homage. President Jonathan reassures Nigerians that God will see the country through as it tackles the challenges posed by terror and extreme violence. He emphasized would be
anybody. So no politician should begin to think that he's so superior that ordinary Nigerians should die because he wants to hold a political office. And God will not forgive such people. And I used to tell people that I've taken some time to look across the world, especially Africa. Those who come to power by killing people and doing all kinds of criminal things, they don't always end well. They stay there for some time, answer the big, but in most cases, not all cases, but in all human society, there are some extremes. Outliers, maybe in statistics they say outliers, outside the range. Some people may be lucky. But most of the people, their victory song don't normally last long. The reality is to catch up with them, and nemesis will take charge.
Vice President Namadi Samba, who led the FCT residents to the villa, presented a Christmas card to the president and thanked him for the achievements of the Jonathan-led administration in the last 3 years.
That you are able to deliver the promises you have made to Nigerians. Today, we are pleased to note that with the efforts you have put in agriculture in only 2 years, we have reduced the import of food by over $1 billion.
Also, the national president, Christian Association of Nigeria, Pastor Ayo Rishajafo, has enjoined Nigerians to embrace peace, which is the birth of Christ connotes. Pastor Rishajafo stated this in his Christmas message to Nigerians. In a statement, the CAN president called on Nigerians to exhibit love, which are part of the central message of the season. Pastor Rishajafo was emphatic on the need for Nigerians to show love and care in accordance with the Holy Scriptures. The CAN president urged Nigerians to cooperate with security agencies in the quest to tackle security challenges. The People's Democratic Party has appealed to Nigerians to use the end-of-year festivities and the occasion of this year's Christmas to remember the victims of insurgency in the country by sharing in their grief, as well as bringing succor to the survival of the families of the deceased. The party, in a message signed by the PDP Publicity Secretary, Chief Olisa Metu, specifically employed Nigerians to extend this gesture to the families of the deceased and the injured officers and men of the Nigerian security forces. The PDP says, as a highly placed political party, demands that it aligns with the mood of the people at all times. The party added that this Christmas is coming at the eve of the 2015 general elections. Nigerians must shun violence and support President Jonathan on his resolve for peaceful conduct of the 2015 general election. And also, the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, General Muhammadu Buhari, has asked Nigerians to see the Yuletide as a period to see one another as brothers and sisters. In a message of felicitation with Christian faithfuls, General Buhari says Nigeria's greatness will be achieved when every citizen is treated equally. He prayed for a blissful Christmas celebration and a peaceful New Year. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Suleiman Abba, has asked Nigerians to unite towards addressing the security challenges confronting the nation. This is as he visited some recreational parks to ensure that security is beefed up. The Inspector General of Police says the police is determined to adequately protect lives and properties of all Nigerians during and after the Yuletide festivities.
Thousands of police officers who also work in mufti. Okay. But part of it, and the most important part of it, is that I'm supervising, watching what my are doing, making corrections where necessary, expressing my satisfaction if found so, and encouraging them to do more.
In the meantime, between the first and third quarter of 2014, the Federal Road Safety Corps recorded a total number of 4,430 people killed in road accidents in Nigeria. Most of these accidents occurred during festive periods, especially on Abuja-Lokoja Highway. Now, to reduce this to the barest minimum, the Federal Road Safety Corps and the Nigerian Air Force carried out an aerial surveillance along major roads in Nigeria this Christmas, which was also aimed at ensuring free flow.
This is for us to monitor the traffic flow. We have promised Nigerians that to make it stress-free. So monitoring the traffic pattern on the critical corridors all over the country helps us to know where the operations department will reinforce personnel, logistics, to ensure that everything is going on. And if there are crashes, to be able to inform the rescue teams for prompt rescue service.
There are a lot of collaborative efforts going on between the two services, and we hope that we'll be able to give Nigerians the benefits of this collaboration in the years to come.
We'll take a break now, and when we return, we'll bring you more reports.
Shopee has ensured the reconstruction of the Abuja-Lokoja Road and the East-West Road in Port Harcourt.
The standard gauge rail tracks from Abuja to Kaduna and Lagos to Kano indicates that our trains are coming back.
The second Niger Bridge in the southeast and the local Oweto Bridge in the north-central are in progress, thanks to Shopee.
Shopee's mass transit program has made transportation easier for Nigerians.
Shopee has rehabilitated over 1,000 health centers across Nigeria.
Shopee has provided mama kits to pregnant women, and polio is on the verge of eradication.
Shopee has also ensured the provision of social amenities, and through its various training programs for young people, guarantees a better future.
Shopee, delivering service with integrity.
You're still watching the news on Good Morning Nigeria. Now, this is the import of the action of the Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority as he joins other staff of the authority who were at work on Christmas Day. And he says, holiday or no holiday, Nigerians must get the best service from NTA, Africa's largest television network.
For us broadcasters, it's become second nature. Yeah. We're essential services. We don't shut down. We work 365 days of the year, and that's the way it's supposed to be.
Where you have the overall boss coming to your office, you do the work together. He was at the producer's desk, going through the script himself. You understand? It's very, very important. And fundamentally, what NTA is trying to showcase to the nation, this issue of national integration. We celebrate Christmas together, we celebrate Salah together.
In its 47 years of existence, the Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, BON, an umbrella body for public and private broadcasting stations in the country, has continued to strive towards meeting excellent ethical practices in the sector, but not without challenges. Now, it has a new leadership with the Director General of the NTA, Mr. Shola Omole, as chairman, and he is coming up with fresh ideas for repositioning the organization in line with the digitization age.
Together and find ways to really affect the agenda of Nigeria, find ways to increase the professionalism of the people who work as broadcasters in the country, because they need to be trained. This thing is evolving every day. Broadcasting as we knew it 30 years ago is not the same today. It will not be the same 20, 30, 50 days.
And that's the news. It's back to Claire and Ibrahim.
Many thanks to you, Rhoda. This is Good Morning Nigeria. We'll take a short break and come back to talk business. Stay with us.
Nigerians make we shine our eye. Nigerians make we follow man. The test of a true leader is in his challenges, trials, and oppositions. A true leader recognizes and respects the individual differences of his followers and carries all along. A true leader selflessly seeks the common good of. A true leader is firm yet with a large heart of tolerance even when misunderstood.
Let me reaffirm that under a Jonathan president, your views, no matter how freely expressed, will not send you to prison.
Vote Goodluck Jonathan and Madi Sambo for President and Vice President 2015. Vote PDP.
This message is brought to you courtesy Transformation Ambassadors of Nigeria. Done for one vision, Nigeria.
Okay, and now this is what is trending on the business news this morning. Food prices on the decrease during this Yuletide period, and government says efforts are on to further drag down the prices amid falling oil prices. Now, business news is next, and Leah Kertun Babatunde is our guide.
Until the business of the day, it is a normal trend for people to shop more during festive seasons than any other season of the year. Traders in Abuja witnessed a high volume in activities this past few days. They, however, are anticipating a very dry experience in January.
January is always a tough month because during Xmas period, people like to spend money. And after that, entering January, school fees and what have you will now queue up. So everybody will start struggling.
While they don't envisage this trend reversing soon, there is evidence that the price of foodstuff have assumed a downward trend.
Very, very cheap. This is as if this season of Xmas, foodstuffs become cheaper than ever. It has never happened in the history of this nation.
Headline inflation slowed in November to 7.9% year-on-year from 8.1% recorded same period last year. According to data from the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics, food price inflation decelerated from 9.3% in October to 9.1% year-on-year. Meanwhile, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister for the Economy, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, has said that diversification of the Nigerian economy has started yielding desired results as food prices remain stable while the inflation rate is low. The minister said Nigerians should see these challenging times as avenues to move the economy on the right path.
The diversification of the economy in agriculture is working, and we are getting more food and prices are reasonable. It's a very sound point.
She disclosed further that food imports declined from 1.1 trillion naira in 2009 to 684 billion naira in 2013.
Agricultural prices in most places are either holding steady or have even dropped. For the average Nigerian, this government is very determined that we try to do things in a manner that does not affect the average Nigerian.
Data from the Ministry of Agriculture revealed that this year alone, Nigeria added 12 million metric tons of food to the domestic food supply. And that is it from this end. Good morning, Nigeria will continue shortly. My name is Leah Katun Babatunde.
It's that time when we look at the newspapers and find out what they are talking about. We'll introduce our guests in a short while. I'd like to introduce Bayo Atoyebi, a regular here on the program. Good morning. Thank you for coming once more.
Thank you, Ibrahim. Good morning, Nigeria, and I'm sure you are still in the Christmas mood. Merry Xmas.
That would appear to have affected the vendors because we only have 5 newspapers this morning.
Yes. That's the difference between the vendors and broadcasters. We work every day.
Well, let's look at the few we have. Who knows? Maybe just before we finish, we might get some more.
All right.
Of course, Adra. Okay, you want me to start off? Okay, we start with National Mirror. National Mirror leads with the story, how we averted terrorist attacks on churches, and that's coming from IGP. It has 2 writers there, tight security in Maiduguri, Jos, and Kano. And FCT parks record low turnout amidst threat. And a picture story on the front page of President Goodluck Jonathan, Primate of Anglican Church, Most Reverend Nicholas Oko, First Lady, Dame Patience Jonathan, Minister of State for FCT, Oloye Olajumoke Akinjide, and others after the Christmas church service in Abuja yesterday. Stop sowing seed of discord. Jonathan warns politicians, says Nigeria is nobody's personal estate, and Kano police kill 4 robbery suspects on Christmas. It is on page 51. And just above the masthead, passengers stranded at Lagos Airport as airlines hike fares, page 5. NERC freezes electricity bill hike for residential consumers. Details on page 5. And Pope condemns ISIS, decries children's suffering. Page 50. That's the front page of the National Mirror. And next is Newswatch Times, and it leads with the story, Jonathan to politicians, Nigeria, nobody's personal estate. Again, you have a picture story, the same picture story of the President, the First Lady, and the Primate of the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion after the church service in Abuja yesterday there, of course, with the FCT Minister of State, Princess Olajumoke Akinjide, right in front there. There are other stories trending on the front page also, but just above the masthead, you have low-key Christmas as strategies trail celebration. Details are on page 2. Of the paper, and just a quick look at the inside page to see what's trending. On the inside page, pages 2 and 3, we have the details of the stories, of course, that led on the front page. On page 3, Amechi spent 30 on Buhari. This is coming from Wike, and it writes with, "We will not react to stupid conjecturing." This is coming from Rivers, as PDP picks woman deputy. That's on the front page. Now, APC VP candidate rules out violence in 2015. It's also just above the picture story there on the same page 3. APC VP candidate rules out violence in 2015. 15. Okay, that's Newswatch Times. That's a good one coming from there, we pray. Daily Trust leads with a story. Stop abusing your successors. That's Jonathan to ex-leaders. Stop abusing your successors. That's it there. And just above, below the masthead, you find another story on the front page. I won't have office for First Lady. And this is coming from Buhari. Okay, and the picture there, of course, that of children having fun at Millennium Park in Abuja yesterday. Pope the Christ massacres, prays for peace in Nigeria. Now, that's the front page of Daily Trust. And the other story, over 100 soldiers moved to Abuja for trial. Over 100 soldiers moved to Abuja for trial. And that's a story on page 3. That's Daily Trust. Ibrahim.
Yes, Daily Sun is next, and on its front page, Jonathan knocks politicians over divisive utterances. That's a story you might want to read up on page 5 of the Daily Sun this morning. Xmas miracle. Christians, Muslims worship together in Kaduna. Details on page 6. And Sokoto Guba, Tambuwal picks commissioner as running mate, is trending on page 14 of the newspaper. And Black Christmas, that's coming below the picture story there. 4 robbers killed in shootout with police in Kano. 2 others die in Warri. And fire raises hospital in Ondo. All the details on pages 13 and 14 of the Daily Sun. Right at the bottom there, Pope seeks divine peace in Nigeria. That might interest you. Read it up on page 16 of the Daily Sun. I also have leadership on Friday. And I'll begin from right below the masthead there. Auto policy, port terminal operation in 2015. That's on page 15. There is another promotional story there. Nigerians, or 2015, Nigerians will decide their leaders, says Jonathan. Trailer crashes Okada rider, 4 others to death in Delta. Details on page 8. But the leading story on the front page there is Nigerians celebrate bomb-free Xmas in 3 years. Security foils plan attack by insurgents. And they're also doing a story of headline makers, or what the newspaper calls headline makers in 2014. That's the leadership this Friday. Mr. Derby.
Thank you, Ibrahim. Well, let's start with the pronouncement made by Mr. President that Nigeria is no one's personal estate. And this relates to the kind of rhetoric that is being brought heightened in the polity because of the campaigns for 2015. And he had advised that controversial statements and statements that are capable of creating discord and enmity should be taken out of the political discourse. And you recall that even on this program, the officers in charge for publicity of the 2 main parties had actually pledged that they will make sure that incendiary are expunged from some of their statements. Actually, the media owes that challenge, particularly the politician is free to say whatever he will on the political rostrum. It is left for the media not to extend that to the public, because even the United Nations has said that hate language or vile language should not be accorded freedom of expression. Well, what Ibrahim reported as a religious miracle happened in Kaduna, where some Muslim groups heeded the invitation of Christian groups to join them at worship at a church. Pastor Yohana Buru of the Christ Evangelical Church invited members of the Islamic movement to celebrate Christmas with its members. And they were led by Dr. Shuaibu Musa, who represented the leader of the Islamic movement, Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zaki. And they called for more collaboration to rid society of religious extremism. Furthermore, the Pastor Buru particularly drew a parallel and said there was no dispute between Christianity and Islam because the 2 of them are in agreement about the reappearance of 2 great men at the end of time. He also said that killing of people on the basis of religion was senseless, and the reality of it is that people are from the same God and from the same root. Particularly that the 3 strong faiths, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, incidentally have their root from Abraham. The Jews will say Abraham, the Christian will say Abraham, and the Muslim will say Islam. And that is the root of all the three strong faiths. So what is the basis for conflict? And so they are advocating that peace should be the basis for and love for one another. And particularly, it's very instructive because Kaduna City became apparently divided over the bridge on those kind of religious and ethnic grounds. And therefore, this is a kind of olive branch that should be very instructive to all people in Kaduna. Can there be a Christmas without a message from the Pope? The Catholic Pontiff, Pope Francis, has called for safeguard of children who are victims under crisis of violence, and particularly also in trafficking. Christmas message called Urbi et Orbi. That is Latin. Claire, maybe you know more Latin than me. It is said it means from the city to the world. The Pope expressed concern about killings and hostage-taking in Nigeria and also in the Middle East. The Pope has expressed concern that there are so many tears this Christmas, which is rather very unusual. He urged peace in Nigeria specifically, where he said more blood is being shed. He thanked those who are also giving their time and courageously assisting those who have been afflicted by Ebola. The police too are up and doing. In Kano, there is a notorious corner called Konandangora. Police in the night patrol met armed robbers in operation, and in a clash, 4 of such robbers were killed. Also in Delta State, notorious armed robber that has been disturbing the people in the area, 2 of them were also killed in a gun battle. And in Nasarawa State, 19 armed robbers who have been arrested and paraded as suspects. As people are rushing home for Christmas, one of the things they have to cope up with is hike in fares. At motor parks, fares have been hiked, some up to 50 and some to 70%. The same thing is also happening at the airport. Transport fare seem to have been hiked at the Lagos Terminal Airport yesterday. The fares for flights that last about 1 hour, which usually was ranging between 18,000 to 30,000, has gone up as high as 43,000. And so the routes that were mostly affected were Lagos, Enugu, Abuja, Owerri, Calabar, and Port Harcourt. It is said that Lagos to Enugu, which used to be about 20,000, is now 35,000. Lagos to Abuja, which was an average of about, the increase now is averaging about 40,000. It used to be about 24,000 before. And the concerns are that passengers lamented that Christmas is supposed to be a time for sharing. Ironically, the transporters at the motor parks and the airports are using it as a basis of exploitation. And the ordinary people are saying, oh, so the rich also cry. At the airports too, the big ones too are crying. However, the public relations officer for the federal airport, the best way to go about this is to use the airport portals and book for your flights in advance. It helps one such vagaries. However, the ticketing officer there that, well, this is not unusual. At Christmas period, naturally, they always will hike their price, and so they will also have to take their own Christmas bit. Traders are lamenting. And why are they lamenting? Because there are no sales. And they place all this squarely upon the fact that many civil servants did not get their salaries for Christmas. And a trader specifically said that during Christmas, he was used to stocking his shop twice before Christmas was over. This year, what he had in his shop, he has hardly sold 60% of it. And staff of the Ministry of Transport, Ministry of Aviation, have not been paid their salaries for December. And also, the president of the National Union of Textile and Garment Union, Aremu, in Kaduna, has lamented that 22 state governments are owing staff their salaries that had not been paid. In fact, he made a comparison that these were the same governors that were paying delegates who went for political convention. Technically, they have not paid their civil servants who work for them. Terror war petition. There was an alleged petition that was sent to the presidency alleging that soldiers were not paid the allowances, that there was corruption, and there was not adequate equipment to empower the soldiers to fight. The armed forces said they have investigated it, and they have expulgated the commanding officer of 103 Battalion, who was the suspect to have originated the petition. And it is said that the allegations in the petition are not true. But, however, there seems to be no smoke without fire. At some of the mutiny trials that have been going on, some of the excuses of the officers is that they were prepared to fight, but they have not been given the adequate equipment. Nigeria police also owe its officers who have been deployed to the Northeast salaries and allowances. In fact, those that were deployed to Yobe State says that since they were moved from their various states, they have not been paid the allowances. However, the first PRO, Commissioner Ojukwu, has come out to say that the Inspector General of Police has given indication that this will be paid very, very soon. Most of them were porting the military to maintain the civil aspect of vigilance within the cities. However, many of them say they don't have homes. They have had to live in uncompleted buildings, some under trees, and it is they are depending on the goodwill of neighbors. People are kind, the Nigerians are kind, and they are the ones who are in fact giving them food, and that's how they have been able to survive. Yes, Claire is there with her yellow card, but before you go, I'm sure this what I'm going to talk about will interest you. Governor Emmanuel Uduawa has approved weighing allowance for all the parastatals of the Ministry of Information in Delta State. Did you say I should stop, or should I continue?
Go ahead, tell us about this.
Well, the Ratau Nigeria Union of Journalists and NUPRO had embarked on strike on December 18th, demanding they be paid way allowance. In fact, Claire, I'm worried. Why do they call it way allowance? I remember in the days I was in sports commentating, you talk about weigh-in when boxers, that was a prelude for boxers to engage in the tournament. Why do they call it weigh-in allowance? Mm-hmm. Maybe they will call you broadcasters that are so stressed to come and take the reduction in your weight, and before they pay you the allowance. Anyway, for Delta State, the Pointer newspaper and DBS are the beneficiaries of such. And it will interest you that Delta State is the only state in the Federation that have accepted to pay the weighing allowance. Until now, it was only the federal government that was paying weighing allowance for its parastatals. Claire? I'm done.
There couldn't have been a better way of rounding this up. I just hope that it will trickle down, or perhaps the weighing allowance will be a very good change.
Honestly.
Atobi, thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Enjoy the rest of Boxing Day. How about boxes? Have you opened any?
We wait until the Boxing Day to open the boxes.
All right. This is Good Morning Nigeria. We're just done with the newspapers. We'll be talking about a major issue for the day in just a moment. Stay with us.
The Dettol and Ministry of Health team is visiting schools to teach children how to protect themselves from diseases.
Do you know what germs are? They are tiny, harmful, living things that you pick up from dirty surfaces. These germs can make you ill and prevent you from doing all the things you like to do with friends. That's why you need to fight them by washing your hands regularly with Dettol soap.
Mom, today we learned how to fight germs with Dettol soap.
John has come to find out why. He's the only one missing out on gifts and surprises this season.
The solution to your problems is right there in your wallet. There it is. Put it back in your phone. You can now start to enjoy all the surprises you've been missing.
Put your MTN SIM back in your phone. Text 11 to 400 and watch the surprises start rolling in.
MTN, everywhere you go.
Do you know that you are exposed to up to 100 illness-causing germs every day?
I encourage my kids to learn new things. And if they get hurt, I rely on my Dettol to fight germs. It's like my own first aid kit.
My family needs protection from germs. My Dettol disinfects surfaces and clothes, keeping them clean and safe from germs.
Thank you for joining us again this Boxing Day on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA, and this is Good Morning Nigeria. We start our conversation now. Now, available statistics from different health bodies here in Nigeria indicate that more Nigerians are presenting with non-communicable diseases, hypertension, for instance, and medical experts have linked this increase to various unfriendly health habits such as, of course, eating disorders, that's nutrition, sedentary lifestyle, talking about people who do not take time out, for leisures. And our emphasis this morning on the issue of leisure is born out of the fact that the festive periods, Christmas, New Year, for instance, are periods when, of course, Nigerians or people ought to take time off work, leisure, with family and friends, and also a period when these unfriendly healthy habits grow or rise or increase. Jide Onifade leads us into this conversation with this report.
The red light is on, a signal for danger ahead for those who fail to heed the warning. It is the call from medical experts that Nigerians should take time off their busy duties to recreate. I do not have time for leisure is a common saying among Nigerians. Leisure or free time, as described, is a time spent away from business, work and education. There is an average of 11 public holidays in a year. This is exclusive of weekend days of Saturday and Sunday. In other climes, savings are made towards vacation. Only few Nigerians know and understand the importance of vacation. Medical and social experts note that participating in leisure and recreation activities can help manage stress and reduce depression. Leisure, they say, provides the chance to find balance in life. To encourage utilizing free time positively, federal and state governments are investing in recreational centers, parks, and other places of interest. Efforts are also on promoting the tourist attraction centers on global level. The participation of Nigerians in recreation activities, experts believe, would enhance their well-being and also boost tourism activities.
I'd like to introduce and welcome into the studio Mr. Ini Akpabio. He is the Group Managing Director of NANET Group of Companies and the National Vice President of National Federation of Tourism Association of Nigeria, EFTA. Thank you for joining us on Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
Merry Christmas to you.
Same to you.
We're talking about an issue, as Claire rightly pointed out, that has been of concern to medical experts, especially here in Nigeria, the issue of people taking time out to rest. That's how I'll put it. But here we call leisure. Let me get your understanding of what leisure means.
Well, leisure is going out of the normal work routine. Leisure is being in a state of relaxation. Leisure is enjoying yourself, those activities that are not normally taken as work. And leisure needs planning. You plan for leisure just like you plan for work. So that's what leisure is all about.
Can we distinguish between that and recreation? Are there any differences?
They are the same. Leisure, recreation, you may even go on to say holidays and all what's not. They still serve the same purpose. When you're recreating, you're also in a state of leisure. That means you're relaxing and you're reducing stress and you're trying to recharge your batteries. Recreation may involve activities. That's why we call recreational activities. But again, that still leads to you doing something, what you can describe as leisurely activity as well. So by and large, they're about the same thing.
Nigerians love to party.
Yes.
You know, we love visiting, we love all sorts of activities. Will you consider those as part of, you know, leisure?
You may, because you see, it's good you ask that question, because we come from different cultural backgrounds. What may be looked at as for the European may be taken as work for Nigeria or work for American and so on. So first and foremost, leisure is determined by your cultural understanding of what you mean by leisure. So if I visit family, friends, and we enjoy ourselves and we drink, and culturally I look at it that that's the way I can relax, that's okay. But if maybe you live in London and then you tell somebody I'm coming for dinner, and you have to dress up for dinner and so on and so forth, it may be taken as something very formal. So it has cultural connotations. In the Nigerian setting, yes, drinking, visiting people will be taken as part of our leisure, part of our recreation.
What is the objective of taking these leisure periods? Because sometimes you discover that even the party, involves some kind of mental activity, and work. So what is the objective? When you say leisure, what is the objective of leisure? What are we aiming at?
Doing something different. See
For
yourself,
what purpose?
Just like I said, to recharge your batteries. You are a newscaster. Assuming you were organizing wedding and maybe you're going to the Ashoebis and the rest, it's a different thing you're doing. It's totally different from what you're doing right now. So that gives you an idea, like leisure. It's just like, we go to play golf. If you play golf, soccer, or any game at all, it's engaging. You sweat. It takes effort to do that. But you can still say that's leisure, because it's different from sitting behind a table and then thinking of accounting figures or having meetings at a board level and so on. So all those things, even if you're organizing a party, whatever, you can also take it as leisure, as long as organizing a party is not your job. As long as it's not your job.
So now, for some people, partying and organizing parties may not be leisure.
No, I run nightclubs. Yeah. So if you see me in my nightclub, I'm working. We're themselves. I'm trying to make sure my guests are happy, there's enough drinks for everybody, and so on and so forth. So my frame of mind is in the work mode. So that's how it works.
So within the context of what your definition, would we be right then to say that Nigerians do not really take time for leisure?
Like I said, Nigerians do take time for leisure. They do. They visit their relations. We categorize that as leisure. Just like we've been seeing all over the country, they've been going to parks, they've been taking families out, and so on. So Nigerians do relax. And I'm happy to note that, you see, the lovely thing about Nigerians, and that's what I keep telling everybody, humanity is one. We are evolving. So whatever we see the developed society doing, that's what we are imbibing, whether we like it or not. If you go around the country, if you go around Abuja, you're going to see father, mother going out with their children. Yesterday, I happened to be in a 5-star hotel, and it was packed. Families were really enjoying themselves. These are things that we are evolving into. These are things that we must copy, because we are part of humanity. And so Nigerians are learning to relax.
Perhaps what is a little bit different with what obtains in other climes, even though you said it's a function of our backgrounds and cultures, is the attitude of going away completely, save money, for the whole year, and take a month or a few weeks and just go away completely from it all, where you go and do bird watching, you sit by the streams and things like that. Shouldn't that be perhaps a better way of going about this?
That's the next step. You can't run before you must walk before you run. And I'm very happy you said that. I happen to have lived in England for over 10 years. And I know when I was living there, working there, the whole essence of working in a developed society is to save for a holiday. It's as if it's like going to heaven. So everything they do is geared towards going for that holiday. But like I said, we are evolving. We are still categorized as a developing nation. That means we are developing in every aspect of our lives. So there's going to be a time, what you're saying is going to be the normal thing. You work, you save, you go on holidays. The holidays are going to take you from one destination to the next destination. But in a society that even moving from one spot to the other is very challenging, you know, these are what you call drawbacks. So that even if you think about it, you know, to execute it becomes a problem. But now you can't compare us with a developed society. You can go on a train, on a plane, on a coach, and the roads are there, the airports are there, everything is there. So as we evolve, these things come into play. And then it's a normal thing that's going to happen.
Because I was going to worry. A lot of our viewers will be, what are they talking about this morning? When you don't have money, what holidays are you talking about? So how much of a factor is money?
Yes, because you said earlier on that leisure involves planning, yes, and probably, of course, budgeting. You must budget for leisure. And when it comes to spending money, yes, I don't know.
No, it's like every other thing. You see us here, we are sitting down, we are wearing clothes. Clothes is a priority to us. We save, we wear, we buy clothes. We're inside a house. Those
are basic necessities.
No, yeah, but that's it. Whatever your situation, let's look at what we call Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You understand? You start from breathing, eating, then accommodation, and so on and so forth. And like I still say, there are a lot of Nigerians who have gone beyond the struggle for survival. And if we are talking of holidays, we are looking at those class of Nigerians. There is no way in the world, even in developed society, there is still levels of poverty there. And of course, poverty does not go on the same page as holidays, recreation, and the rest. So when we're talking of maybe the middle class to the upper class, you have to plan. It's expensive. And when we say it's expensive, then you know how you plan. Do you travel or not? If you're traveling, where do you travel to? Within the country or outside, and all those things come into play. So I would not say that we don't spend money on the holidays. We just reconfigure how we're going to spend the money.
Mm-hmm. Okay, traveling is an aspect of, people taking their leisure, spending their leisure. But what of those who cannot afford to travel? Let's look at those who decide, okay, let's spend our leisure hours within our country. In advanced countries, we have designated, centers where, of course, people go to for sightseeing and all that. You are in the hospitality, industry. How many of Nigerians do come in, to your facility to say, okay, look, we are just here solely, to explore our leisure, hours? Is that a habit?
Will I say it's a habit? I will be afraid to use the word habit, but I'll be happy to say that we are trying to get there. In our facilities, we've been experiencing families coming in. They want to relax, some for 3 days, some for 4 days. They do that. A lot of our hotels. We also encourage them by reducing the prices of our accommodation and making sure we have activities for the children. So in answer to your question, yes, it's been increasing every year. We have more families who engage in such activities. We also have in the towns, in answer to the question, if you don't have enough money to travel, There are activities all over our towns. There are many activities. There are now even persons whose specialty is what you call event planning, which is an aspect of tourism. And they do musical shows, they do picnics on large scales and so on and so forth. So even if you don't have enough money to travel, what you're traveling to enjoy comes to you, if I'm making sense. So I'm thinking that Nigeria is really evolving. And some years, yes, we have financial challenges, but that's consequential. That's how life is, better than other years. Some years we have a bountiful harvest in terms of finance. I think this year, unfortunately, as we are all aware, we have the oil crisis, we have the Naira being devalued and all what's not. So it may not be as maybe good as last year or the year before. But these are just what you call changes that occur. You know. Mr.
Kwebe, let's talk about tourism. I do know this provides great relaxation for a lot of people. People travel out to all these countries who make it, in fact, their mainstay, the tourism industry. Tell me, what is your assessment of the tourism industry in Nigeria as it is?
The tourism industry in Nigeria is waiting to be exploited.
Waiting to be exploited?
Yes. The tourism industry in Nigeria is yet to have been brought into at par with what we should be comparing ourselves to. Even the countries, even within West Africa, if you look at smaller countries like Gambia, you look at within even Africa, I don't even want to talk about the big players like South Africa. We have a lot to do. And luckily for us, we also have the potential. Like I did say, you know, I'm an optimist. So I don't want to say blame this, blame that. You know, things are progressing. Sometimes things are happening in the country and then we seem not to see it. I'll give you many examples. Look at little issues like festivals, Calabar Festival, Abuja Carnival, this and that. Some of them just came in within the last 5 to 10 years, but it's evolution. So tourism in Nigeria is evolving as well. But there are so many handicaps. As a developing society, just like I've said, infrastructural challenges, transport, energy. These two things militate against a rapid advancement in tourism. Tourism that will generate domestic tourism, tourism that will generate international tourism. So on those levels, you know, we can't run faster than our ability to develop. So we have to develop at the same pace as our electricity's possibilities can take, as our airports can take, and so on and so forth. Look, if you go to the airport just 24th of December or maybe 31st of December, you see the chaos, or any Friday for that matter. It just shows there isn't that capacity to move people. And how many people are we talking about? That's what tourism is all about, move people. Then, you know, like we like to do, you start to compare yourself with Atlanta, Dubai, this and that, and you see the massive amount of people that can be moved.
Okay, you know, the Yorubas have a saying in Yoruba, you know, it says, Ojo ikú, Ojo ìsinmi. It literally translated means it's the day of death, that's the day of rest, you know. And that mentality drives a lot of people, you know, to keep working round the clock. And I think that if the facilities, access to, you know, tourist facilities are there, if we have a lot more, you know, of such facilities. For instance, I grew up hearing of Ikogosi, you know, the spring, the Yankari Game Reserve. I don't think these facilities are there, or even if they're there, they're not easily accessible. So if these facilities are in place and accessible, maybe this kind of mentality will begin to be reversed.
Again, like I said, I look at things from a different perspective. And you see, we must not live in the past. You know, in tourism, we've always been talking Yankari Games Reserve, Okogosi, Warm Spring, this and that. No, tourism is evolving. You are not talking of Millennium Park.
Yes, but we must maintain the fact. We must maintain, even to move forward, you must maintain.
An aspect of tourism. An aspect of tourism. Look, I go all over the world. If I go to, the other time I was in Berlin, I don't go to Berlin and I want to go and see their games reserve, their warm springs. No. I go to Berlin and I go to West Berlin, East Berlin, and their big towns, and I'm seeing man-created tourism attraction.
All right,
so there are a lot of, we have changed.
Mr. Akpabio, just hold on a second. Let me rejoin Rhoda in the newsroom for an update. We'll come back and talk some more. Rhoda, it's over to you.
Thank you, Ibrahim. And here's a quick look at some of top stories this morning. President Jonathan has again reminded Nigerians that his ambition is not worth the blood of any Nigerian, as he advised political office seekers not to hit the polity for their selfish gains. President Jonathan reassures Nigerians that God will see the country through as it tackles the challenge posed by terror and extreme violence. The National President, Christian Association of Nigeria, Pastor Ayo Risha Jafo, has advised Nigerians to embrace peace, which the birth of Christ connotes. The CAN president called on Nigerians to exhibit love, peace and sacrifice, which are part of a central message of the season. Pastor Risha Jafo urged Nigerians to cooperate with security agencies in the quest to tackle security challenges. The Inspector General of Police, Suleiman Abba, has asked Nigerians to unite towards addressing the security challenge facing the nation. The Inspector General of Police says the police is determined to adequately protect lives and properties of all Nigerians and after the Yuletide festivities. The Federal Road Safety Corps and the Nigerian Air Force carried out an aerial surveillance along major roads in Nigeria to reduce carnage on Nigerian roads. Between the first and third quarter of 2014, the Federal Road Safety Corps recorded a total number of 4,430 people killed in road accidents in Nigeria. And the Corps Marshal, Boboye Oyeyemi, says this is no longer acceptable. And that's the news. It's back to Claire and Ibrahim.
We'll go right back to Claire and Mr. Akpabio. They were thrashing out an issue before we went on that break, so you might want to continue.
Yes, what I was trying to say is that evolution also occurs in the tourism industry and sector. And the evolution I'm looking at is that when we talk of going to see tourism sites, we shouldn't just look at the natural ones only, because the natural ones are the games reserves, the springs, and so on and so forth. But we also must have what you call the man-made. And I was giving examples that, look, if you travel today to go to even a place like London, what are you going to see in London town? You're going to the London Eye, you're going to Madame Tussauds, you may go to the museum, you may go to, all these things have been created. And I'm saying it's a major aspect of tourism. I also said I'm from Akwa Ibom State, Uyo, for instance, and I know just like other towns, Uyo is evolving. And when I go there during holidays, I see that there are man-made things that have been built by the state government, and you see an influx of people from the rural areas and even within the towns who want to go and see these facilities. So, as a tourism expert, I would really like to call on the federal government. For instance, let's look at Abuja town. I just saw recently maybe the NTDC partnering with some persons are starting bus tours. And the first question is that when you're doing a bus tour in Abuja town, where do you go for sightseeing? What sites do you see? And a lot of the sites are yet to be developed. We are building, is it a tower somewhere? We want to have a boulevard, and so on and so forth. These are what makes up the sites for tourists to enjoy. And I'm only saying tourism also, like every other thing, is evolving. Man-made tourism, natural tourism, and other aspects of tourism. And the potential we have in Nigeria is so enormous. We haven't yet tapped even up to 5% of our tourism potential, either developing the natural ones or even starting new ones, totally conceived, created, and is made by man.
All right, Mr. Akpabio, because you talked that it's quite frankly, I agree with you in terms of your views that tourism ought to evolve. But I also feel that we must also maintain the natural ones that we've got. These are our resources. Take, for instance, years back, you go to Victoria Island, the Bar Beach, for instance, was a very big tourist site. Today, what has become of Bar Beach? Are you saying we should, forget that aspect of our tourist potential and begin to develop man-made ones? I don't.
No. We are not saying that. You can always develop. You can even change Bar Beach because Bar Beach, as you're looking at it, is already changing. We are having the eco land there. They are reclaiming the water. And in the next 10 years, there isn't going to be anything like Bar Beach because it's going to be a co-Atlantic city. So that's the evolution. As I was giving an example of Dubai, if you go to Dubai, if you go on Burj Khalifa, the tallest tower, they are going to show you Dubai as it was and Dubai as it is. Now, preservation has got limits. If you're going to keep preserving all that you have so that people in future can see how you are or you were, is also detrimental. So there's got to be a balance. There are things that should be preserved. I'm not saying you should not. And I will agree with you 100% that we are not preserving those things we should preserve. Yes, 100% I agree. But I'm also saying, while looking at preserving those things, we must also move forward by bringing new things into play. I used to be doing some business in, let's say, Lokoja, for instance. And within the area I was doing business, there was the first prison in northern Nigeria. And it was so fantastic. It showed gallows where people were hung and so on and so forth. And I went to the government through the commissioner at that time, that's some years back, and I said, look, this is a very classical case of what you're talking about. That's something that's got historical significance. Can we preserve it? Unfortunately for me, what happened was that the government just came in, where you had the bricks that had been standing for so many years. They just came, got somebody, he plastered the whole thing, painted it in ways of, that was the idea of preservation. So yes, I agree with you. Even in Nigeria, we are not even able to preserve our history. We are not doing it correctly. That is true. There's a lot of destruction. In the south areas where I come from, we have the slave trade rules, we have the houses of Mary Slessor, we have all these things. All those things have been left to decay. They are historical sites of great significance where other countries utilize them to make money, a lot of money, because people pay to come and look at those things. Even right now, if you go to Accra, I think they've developed their slave trade route better than us. You go there, you pay, and then you go and watch, and then maybe you reenact how they were taken and so forth. I know in Calabar, we were trying to do something like that. So, yes, we have not done enough there. That's true.
All right, Mr. Akpabio, we'll just keep you on hold and quickly go live in Benin City. That's our Benin Network Center, where we have Dr. Ehigiato Adayofo. He is an honorary consultant psychiatrist, of course, at the Psychiatrist Department of Mental Health, University of Benin. Dr. Adayofo, thank you for joining us on this conversation. We're not talking about psychiatry or psychiatric issues here, but certainly leisure does have maintain a balance, in the mental capacity, of people, isn't it?
Perfectly so. Yes, leisure has, benefits from all ramifications. It has got physical health benefits, mental and social health benefits.
Well, perhaps doctor should go a bit further and tell us some of these benefits. Let's start from that place. What are some of the benefits?
Yes, for mental health benefits. Now, let me start by saying that there are two forms of leisure activity. You have got physical activity and you have got passive activity. The one that actually has got benefits is the physical activity. Now, the mental health benefits includes now those who engage properly in physical activities, aspect of leisure, are able to maintain a good mood, and that implies that they are protected against depression. And indeed, leisure activity can be used to even treat depression. They are better able to. Now, leisure activity can be used to treat some, mental health conditions. For example, personality disorders, substance use disorder, other abnormal personality traits. Now, again, for women, for example, who have who are symptomatic in their menopause, we benefit from leisure activity. They are better positioned to be productive at work, and they are better able to manage strain from work. Indeed, leisure activity, confers protection against conditions that may arise, as one age. For example, dementia. Those who have enough leisure activity, are able to maintain better memory. They are protected against cognitive disorders. And now, leisure activity improves self-esteem, and to that extent, there is better quality of life for individuals. Now, for marital relationship, for people who may engage as couples in physical activity, and indeed, leisure improves family, relationship. Now, if you look at it from the angle of physical health, it is known that physical activity, leisure, protects against hypertension, diabetes, and obesity. Now, those who engage in physical activity as a way of leisure, for example, they have diabetes, they are protected against cancer that has been found to be associated with a condition like diabetes. Now, again, those who have colorectal cancer, for example, who engage in physical activity, they are protected. They have, they are more likely to survive that kind of cancer on account of engagement in physical activity. Now, those who engage in leisure activity are able to maintain, better physical independence well into old age than those who do not. And again, leisure activity, especially like I emphasized earlier, that the emphasis on physical or active leisure activity, they are protected against fractures. It could be a form of supportive treatment for osteoporosis, and then for elderly people who engage in leisure activity, they are protected against falls, which is quite common with elderly people. These are all some of the health benefits that.
Dr. Adeyonfo, let me just come in and quickly ask this question. There is, can you hear me, Dr. Adeyonfo? Now, I'm saying that there is a time out, very typical Nigerians. We work very hard and find it difficult to rest, and the result is stress over time, and it is advised that you take some time out to rest. But let me ask you, what is the effect of this fagged out, this stress what does it do to productivity, and what is the way to go out of it?
Obviously, fog out will lead to stress. And when a person is under stress, such a person will have, deleterious sequelae. For example, that is the kind of person who will not sleep well. That is the kind of person who, consequently, will be less productive at work. The person is fogged out. The person is tired. When the person is supposed to be on duty working, you find the person, dozing off, because he or she has not had adequate rest. Again, when a person is fogged out, that is the kind of person who will not be able to cope with the stress of work. And consequently, the person is likely to go into depression. The person is likely to suffer from other health conditions that will, of course, impact negatively on the person's productivity, both at work and in other aspects of life.
Therefore, that Nigerians love to party. If they're not at work, they're either holding parties or clubbing or, of course, doing all sorts of activities. And I asked Mr. Akpabio earlier on here if party or partying can be classified as part of leisure activities. My question to you is, are all leisure activities mentally beneficial?
Please, can you take that question again?
Are all leisure activities mentally beneficial? Because I asked Mr. Akpabio if going to parties, clubbing and all that, could form part of leisure activities.
Yes, attending party. At parties, people dance. People socialize. People get active at parties. Like I've tried to explain, when you dance, which is a recognized form of leisure activity, of course, the health benefits of dancing, which is a leisure activity, naturally will be accrued to you. So partying, dancing, if you go to a party and you sit down, while every other person is dancing, shaking hands, of course, that would be a passive leisure activity, and that one has no benefit for such a participant. In fact, it's instructive to note that passive leisure activity could indeed be detrimental to one's health. Like I've tried to emphasize here, from the medical persuasion, it is physical activity or active leisure that actually has got benefit. The passive form of leisure, like television watching, playing video game, they do not have, if anything, they may actually be deleterious to one's health, because apart from being addictive, research has shown that they actually reduce the quality of one's life, physically and mentally.
All right, the point has been made there, and I guess it's clear enough. Active leisure, that's the way to go now. You're watching Good Morning Nigeria. We'll take a short break and return soon.
I bet you can touch your nose with your thumb.
A nose?
It's the same with your toilet. There are many places in your toilet that detergents cannot clean. That is why the new Harpic 5 times Complete gives you 5 times better cleaning than detergent from the rim all the way to the U-bend, making your toilet completely clean. With Harpic 5 times Complete, you will definitely reach all the hard-to-clean places in your toilet.
Harpic Power Plus. Buy now for only 350 Naira.
Don't worry, Uncle. MTN gives me 5 times the value of all my calls.
free.
With the new MTN Surprise Long Call offer, you get 5 times bonus airtime for your calls every day. Simply dial *507# to get started. Terms and conditions apply.
MTN.
Talking to you.
Thank you for joining us. If you've just tuned in, you're watching Good Morning Nigeria. And our conversation this morning is centered on the need for Nigerians to take time, make some time to, of course, take their leisure hours. And we go over to Lagos, where Dr. Shola Foshudo, he needs little or no introduction. He, of course, is a lecturer in the Music and Theatre Arts Department of the Lagos State University and an icon in the Nigerian movie industry. Dr. Foshudo, thank you for joining us. Quite an age.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Fabio here in the studio, and we also went to Benin where we spoke to Dr. Adeyanfo. Now, I'd like to know from you if a lecturer in music and theatre perhaps see leisure differently. How to you, what is leisure?
Well, leisure is taking time off our normal duties, which we do every day, you know, jumping up and down from home to work, and then we return home every time. And if we don't have time off those duties, then it might result to stress, which is not good for our health. So leisure is something, you know, you do to relax, to enjoy yourselves, and to recoup, you know, the energy that you probably have expended or spent on the normal daily work routine. So leisure is very important and supposed to be part of our life.
Okay, let me ask you, if you're not in the classroom teaching music or theatre arts and you're not on set acting, you know, what do you do? How do you spend your leisure?
Well, I go to cinema once in a while. I play table tennis, you know, in the house, and I listen to music, you know. So, and you know, for us in the entertainment industry, sometimes when we are working, we are also more or less, you know, getting some kind of recreation. So, our work is also part of our leisure. But beyond that, you know, when I'm not working strictly, I play table tennis, I go to movies, and I listen to music.
Okay, I don't know if Mr. Akpabio would agree. Does that form part of leisure?
Yeah, it does. Before I wanted to, I was laughing because the other doctor was emphasizing that he looks at leisure in terms of health benefits, and he was talking of active leisure. And now I wanted to ask him, assuming you are a footballer, for instance, your job is playing soccer, which is actually a physical thing that you're doing. Assuming you're a traffic policeman, then how do you relax? Because your job already. So watching movies will be your form of relaxation. Mm-hmm. Sitting down in one place, just like he has said, to listen to music, will also be taken as your form of relaxation. So I think we can't pigeonhole everyone, you know, to do the same thing. It's not everyone that sits in the comfort of an office and does sedentary job. So leisure can be defined, you know, dependent on your core area of activity. So I think more what he's saying is correct. Listening to music, watching a film, even just sitting down in one place can also be taken as leisure for persons.
All right, let's get back to Lagos. Let me put across this question to the gentleman there. Now, experts have established a link between leisure and productivity. I'd like to know how this play out for actors like you, lecturers like you. When you don't have time for leisure, how does it affect your job? How does it affect your output?
Well, like I said, the moment you take time off what you do normally, to do other things which bring you some form of relaxation and recreation, then you are engaged in leisure. So if you don't take that time out, then it can lead to stress, you'll be tensed, and it will affect your productivity, it will affect your output. For instance, for us in the theater, when we get to the studio, either to perform, the first thing that you do is to do what we call physical exercises, which is for relaxation. Even though the exercises are physical, but the outcome is for you to be relaxed, so that you get rid of the tension in you and then be ready for the work. So relaxation helps you therefore to get rid of tension and stress. And once you are not relaxed, or once you are not recreated, it's going to affect what you're going to do. It's going to affect your productivity, because you'll be stressed up, you'll be tensed. So you need to get some time out to relax. That is just the ultimate relaxation, recreation, something that will get you back from the energy that you have expended. So that is the logic or the philosophy of relaxation.
All right, Dr. Foshudo, if you go to homes today and even offices, you discover that you find men, women, children, families in front of their TV sets, and what they're watching, home video, different channels of movie channels and all that. And of course, you know that in the last rebasing exercise, Nollywood contributed significantly to the nation's GDP. Now, how can both the private sector and government at the national and sub-national levels, increase or widen the scope of Nollywood, for instance, so that we can begin to reap, more from its tourist potential?
Well, I think that there is need for a greater acceptability for the Nollywood industry. For quite a while now, the Nollywood people have been doing the business by themselves. They sponsor their films, they produce their films, and they market their films by themselves. But there is need for government to create a window where there will be some form of funds that the industry can fall back on, either from the banks or directly from the government. In civilized societies, there's supposed to be, they normally have what we call an endowment fund. In the UK, in the US that I know about, they have what we call National Endowment Fund for the Arts, where artists and production companies can go to, just apply and tell them what you have done, who you are and all that. And then if they find you good enough to get part of the fund, they give it to you. So, but in this country we don't have such funds. The people who are practicing rely only on what they can get together or from their friends who can help them. So until we expand that scope, we'll only be moving around in the same circle. And that's why the industry is not really earning for Nigeria what it's supposed to be earning, because it's a big business, industry. But we are limited because the recognition is not there by the government, by the corporate, the corporate sector, and we need all these people to come in and join hands with the industry.
Dr. Foshudo, let me ask you, what has been established time and time again in the course of our conversation this morning is the fact that relaxation, leisure is very, very important. In fact, the basis is that Nigerians do not take time out to rest as they should. So I'm asking now, how has the film industry helped Nigerians in imbibing this culture of relaxation? That is, if you have been doing, but if you have not, what are you going to do differently to ensure that Nigerians imbibe this culture? That is, your limitations aside.
Well, watching films, basically is for entertainment. When you say leisure, there are so many things that you find in the components. First of all, apart from, relaxing to get away stress and tension, you can also just entertain yourself, just get entertained when you're watching the film. So Nigerians, do that a lot. They just want to learn from the film. They want to, get some form of enlightenment or education from the films that they watch. So that is also one of the basic, forms of getting leisure, to just get entertained, sit down, and watch something that gives you pleasure. So, and Nigerian Nollywood films are, of course, doing that in very many homes across the country.
Okay, let's get back to Abuja here. And we would also like to get to the Dr. Adayafo in Benin when we get back. But, Akpabio, earlier on you talked about, for states develop their tourist centers. Now, this holiday period, Christmas and, of course, the New Year, for instance, leisure activities are at lowest ebb, of course, for obvious reason. We know because of the challenges. But some states have been able to, develop centers where people can go in and spend their leisure, while other states are basically bare. So why is the private sector not driving, tourist, potentials in those states?
The private sector, sometimes I feel we've been a bit badly maligned, because when I look at it, who are the private sector players? First and foremost, under tourism, you have the hospitality sector. So whatever is done, even if it's initiated by the government or otherwise, we have to provide a lot of accommodation spanning across most states are provided by the private sector players. So in that light, I think the private sector is living up to its billing. The second aspect is that if you're looking at the private sector taking on the challenge of making, for instance, a state capital very tourism friendly, it comes with a lot of financial outlay. Financial outlay that takes a long gestation period for you to recover. And that is why we've kept saying worldwide, government is the initiator everywhere in the world where tourism is really taken as something serious. Government initiates. It's not, I don't think it's private persons that build the Eiffel Tower in Paris and a lot of things you see in Dubai and so on and so forth. It's mostly initiated by the government. Where private sector players come in is in its management. And then also, just like the gentleman talked about, in the when you can get funding, proper funding for private sector players, we know what to do. If you give me a 30-year funding window, I can go and develop a park where you're going to invest a lot of money on monuments, for instance, and then you charge persons small amounts of money to come and look at those monuments, because it's going to take time for you to recover that investment. So that's the reason many times that private sector people may not be able to, come up the way you're looking at. But I still stress the government must live up to expectations. Our governments at all levels, local governments, states, and the federal, are yet to tap into the potential of tourism. We have not seen clear-cut areas. They've not come in. And sometimes, too, I feel for the government, because maybe governments are, grappling with electricity provision, health provision, road structure. And so many times, whether we like it or not, I'm only saying this because it's one thing to stay on this side and talk. And when you go to the other side, you also see an array of problems that are so difficult to surmount. So many times, they relegate those tourism things to the background. But we are still saying, please, let them go together, because the tourism creates employment. So while you're building your roads, you're doing all other infrastructure, please invest also in tourism, create jobs and so on.
All right, time for yet another break. I'll ask you to join us again.
I bet you can touch your nose with your thumb.
A nose?
It's the same with your toilet. There are many places in your toilet that detergents cannot clean. That is why the new Harpic 5 times complete gives you 5 times better cleaning than detergent from the rim all the way to the U-bend, making your toilet completely clean. With Harpic 5 times complete, you will definitely reach all the hard-to-clean places in your toilet.
Harpic Power Plus. Buy now for only 350 Naira.
Right. Cool. 200 megabyte gives me 5 days. Look. Wait, so is that true? What about Twitter? Facebook? What if it finishes when I'm using it? Why can't I just know how long my data will last?
Get data that lasts as long as you need with Smart Packs from Etisalat. Buy data in packs of your favorite apps and choose from the chat, social need to stay connected all day or all week. Dial *200# to try it now. Now you can enjoy streaming all your favorite videos all day and every day with Video Pack.
Etisalat, now you're talking.
Sometimes life can be very boring. But in the MTN season of surprises, you get a special smartphone plan that gives you a whopping 4.5 at only 2,500 Naira, so you can browse more, chat more, tweet more, and upload those unforgettable moments of the season. Text 120 to 131 now to activate your smartphone bundle, or dial *123# for more options.
MTN, everywhere you go.
All right, we are live back in Benin, where, of course, Dr. Higato Adayof in this conversation. And Adra has one question for you before I ask the other.
Well, this is a question that applies to me directly. I'm also guilty of it. Now, we work so hard in this country, sometimes you feel a sense of guilt if you are, say, relaxing and not doing anything. I get that feeling sometimes. You feel, look, there is a lot to be done, and here you are sitting and probably whiling away the time. How do I deal with this sense of guilt? Because if I'm going to rest, I need to be able to deal with this sense of guilt.
Well, you must realize that even United Nations recognizes that everybody is entitled to leisure. And secondly, in a whole 1 week, what you really need, the time you need to spare for leisure is between 75 to 150 minutes. They say all work without play makes Jack a dull boy. And we have continuously emphasized now that, yes, you have a lot of work to do, but when you work, your work has got to have, positive outcome. People can be happy, and at the end of the day, there is nothing to show for it. Now, if you work, you don't rest, now that is, on the long run, going to be counterproductive. And therefore, you need to, make your psyche, understand this idea that you need to take out time to relax, you need to take out time to forget about work, so that you can be better positioned, for greater productivity. If you are unable to achieve this yourself, there you fall. You will need to see an expert who will take you through some counseling and perhaps psychotherapy, so that the feeling of guilt you do have, as you have put it across, will be ameliorated. So that
okay, Dr. Adamfo, our last question to you. I know that right now millions of families are by their TV sets watching this program, and indeed many other talk shows and movies, and you have classified that as not mentally beneficial. Now, Mr. Akpabio here would like to know how might a traffic warden, for instance, or a footballer, or anybody, of course, who engages in such physical activity as a form of work, relax, or, of course, as leisure? How might they relax?
Yes. Well, thank you for this question, because you've given me an opportunity now to throw light on that issue that was raised by one of the discussants. Now, I have said that there are two forms of leisure, active and passive. And I have said the one that has been proven to have more health benefit is the active leisure. I haven't said that there is no room for passive leisure. Now, those occupations are already very physical, involve physical activity. For example, the footballer, they are the ones now who will need to, pay more attention to the passive angle to leisure. And I have just said just now that what is really required, what we have evidence for, is that all you really need is just 75 to 150 minutes per week for you to enjoy health benefit of active leisure. That does not remove, from the fact that we do need to engage in other forms of leisure that are not physical.
All right. We must thank you, Dr. Ihigiatu Adeo, for an honorary consultant psychiatrist department of the Mental Health University of Benin. It's really a pleasure talking to you, and thanks for that advice. I will seriously look into it, and I hope my employers are also listening. Now let's take another break on Good Morning Nigeria.
Wizzy, chill. You know I need to have it.
No. That's my Pepsi.
No, it's whiskey! Tiwa!
It's Pepsi.
In 2013, John Obi Mikel of Chelsea Football Club and Super Eagles midfielder was crowned Nigeria's king of the pitch, and His Excellency Senator Leo Imoke CON Football Friendly Governor of the Year. Who will be Nigeria's king of football? Matchmakers Consult International and Nigerian Television Authority NTA presents the Nigerian Pitch Awards 2014 and its Night of Honors. Who will dethrone Vincent Iyama as Goalkeeper of the Year? Can Emmanuel Emenike remain Nigeria's Striker of the Year? Will Kano Pillars remain Nigeria's best club side? In 2013, you voted Super Eagles coach Stephen Kesh as Coach of the Year. Toyin Ibitoye, Football Journalist of the Year TV. Adeojo Kere, Football Journalist of the Year Print. Bimbo Adeola, Football Journalist of the Year Radio. Chief Felix Anyansi, Manager of the Year. Guinness Nigeria PLC, Best Corporate Sponsor of Football of the Year. And Lagos State, a state with the best grassroots football development program. Nigeria Pitch Awards, Nigeria's own football award.
All right, we're back to Lagos. Dr. Shola Foshido has been waiting live. Dr. Foshido, a last question for you. You teach music and theater arts, and music is one very important, form of leisure activity. A lot of people, listen to music. In fact, people, go to shows just merely to listen to music stars. How much, again, do you think we can exploit music as a form of leisure? What can we do to expand the scope of those who use it, as a form of relaxation?
Well, like I told you, I use music for relaxation. Sometimes when I get home, I just sit down in my sitting room and put on the music and relax, sometimes for 30 minutes, 1 hour. And that for me is spiritually rewarding, But beyond that, as a public thing, perhaps we need to have more situations, more concerts being organized so that people can, go out, to relax and enjoy themselves with music shows. So we need to have more performance centers in Nigeria where there can be more shows, both dramatic shows, musical shows, stand-up comedy shows, where Nigerians can go to get entertained, to relax, to recreate. And like the gentleman said there, we need government to be part of this, process to establish and build, recreation centers, performance centers in different parts of of the country. So going to concerts will expand the scope of and afford the people to go listen to music and enjoy music as part of the process of relaxation and leisure.
All right, Dr. Shola Foshido, lecturer in the Music and Theatre Arts Department of Lagos State University and an icon in Nigerian film industry. Do have a Merry Christmas.
Same to you. Thank you.
All right, we're back here in Abuja, and of course, Mr. Ine Akpabio, Group Managing Director, Nanit Group, and of course, National VP, Vice President of Federation of Tourism Association of Nigeria. We've been talking about how we can develop our, tourist potentials. Do you have a final word for government? We've talked about how government and, of course, the other tiers of government and the private sector can work together.
Yes, I would like to say that as I did say, I'm very optimistic. We have very great potential for tourism. We must work in harmony. I would like to call on government at all levels. First, what's been a bit of a problem is recognizing those who understand tourism. We like governments at all levels to recognize that there are specialists in tourism. Tourism is no more what you feel anybody can do. And as I've gone around, I walk around the country. I go to some states where you have maybe medical doctors, lawyers who are tourism commissioners. I'm just praying we should go beyond that. Let's get people who are experts in this field. And then when we get these persons, we like government to recognize their worth and work with them. And there are so many other things. Like I said, we shouldn't put everything on government, but the enabling environment, you find out that the society also has picked up. We are seeing persons who are qualified in tourism coming up. So they need that enabling environment, the funding, the infrastructure, and so on.
And tourism is not elitist either.
No. It's not at all. The tourism will satisfy everybody. You heard what the doctor from Lagos said. You can put in many big centers, and they are there in so many countries. Viewing centers for people to watch television, for people to listen to music. And sorry, one last word. I would like to, because I love the movie industry, I would like them to also explore a lot what you call the acting, because when I was living in
you have London, less than a minute.
Yes, when I was living in London, we had a lot of theaters where there are live performances. Every street had a theater, and you have live performances. And I'm just saying, look at, first it's going to give them money, give us employment.
All right, Mr. Ini Akpabio, Group Managing Director, Nanit Group, and National VP, Federation of Tourism Association of Nigeria.
Yes.
Thank you, and do have a happy holiday. Adra?
Yeah, we'll just take a short break and return now.
We said to you, we really love you. Thank you for being with us.
Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
Okay, let's talk sports. Nigeria's captain and goalkeeper Vincent Eyama and Super Falcons star Azizat Oshoala have made it into the final three for the 2014 African Football. Musbadan Wahab is standing by with all the details.
Welcome. Let's talk sport now. Nigeria captain and goalkeeper Vincent Eyama has been shortlisted into the final three for the 2014 African Footballer of the Year award. CAF announced the three finalists for this year's award on their official websites on Christmas Day. Gabonese Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and the current African Footballer of the Year Yaya Toure of the Ivory Coast are the other shortlist. The three men were picked by head coaches or technical director of the various national associations. According to CAF, Eyama becomes the first goalkeeper to make the final three in the African Footballer of the Year award in more than 2 decades. The Leeman could also become the first goalkeeper to win the award in 28 years after legendary Moroccan goalkeeper Badou Saki beat his countryman Aziz Bouda Bella and Cameroon's Roger Milla to win the award in 1986 when it was still organized by France Football. Young sensation Azizat Oshoala made a final three for Women's Player of the Year alongside teammates Desire Paranoze and Annette Ndom of Cameroon. Azizat Oshoala is all Women's Youth Player of the Year. The other two in this category are teammates Uchechi Sunday and Fabrice Ondoa of Cameroon. Oshoala reacts to this.
Coming to the CAF award stuff, I'm expecting anything I can win. I can lose, doesn't mean, even if I don't win, doesn't mean I'm a loser. I'm not a loser because being nominated as the African, one of the African best players in just the last 5 or something, it's a great honor for me as well. So at my age, I think I'm really happy with it. So whatever comes out of this, I'll be very, very happy.
For the national team of the year, Nigeria is in the last three with Algeria and Libya. Also, Nigeria's senior team and Nigeria under-20 team make the last three with Cameroon for women's national team of the year. The winners will be announced at the GloCAF Awards Night in Lagos on January 8th. Good luck to Nigerian nominees in that awards. And that's sports this morning. The program continues very shortly.
All right, time to now join Namdo Dipo. He's telling us that a 3-day lockdown is ongoing in the north of Sierra Leone as part of effort of that country to contain the Ebola pandemic. Let's get the details now.
And then welcome once again, compliments of the season. Well, we do have some news coming in from Sierra Leone, which has declared lockdown of at least 3 days in the north of the country to try to contain the Ebola epidemic. Officials say shops, markets, and non-Ebola related travel services will be shut down. Sierra Leone has already banned many public Christmas celebrations. The World Health Organization, WHO, says more than 7,500 people have died from the outbreak in West Africa so far, with Sierra Leone the worst hit Egypt. Sierra Leone has the highest number of Ebola cases in West Africa, with more than 9,000 cases and more than 2,400 deaths since the start of the outbreak. The other countries at the center of the outbreak are Liberia and Guinea. In Somalia, Al-Shabaab fighters have attacked African Union soldiers' main base in the capital Mogadishu. Witnesses reported explosions and heavy gunfire at the base on Thursday, but gave no details about casualties. Report also says that some fighters might have entered the compound. AU peacekeepers from Uganda, Burundi, Kenya, Ethiopia, and Djibouti, known as AMISOM, have been battling Al-Shabaab for years and have forced the group out of Mogadishu. However, the fighters continue to carry out deadly attacks in and around Mogadishu. And Israeli police have arrested more than 24 current and former officials in a corruption investigation, including several from the party of Avedo Lieberman, the foreign minister. Local media reported on Thursday that the investigation was one of the most important anti-corruption operations in the country's history and could strike a blow to Lieberman's Israel Beitenu party just 3 months away from a general election. According to police, millions of shekels of public funds have been allegedly transferred to organizations close to the party. A total of 24 people have been arrested, while another 4 remain under house arrest. And finally, another 16-year-old high school student has been arrested in central Turkey for insulting President Recep Erdogan by accusing him and his ruling party of corruption. The young boy, who was identified by his initials MEA by the Turkish media, was arrested on Wednesday at his high school in the central Turkish city of Konya. The boy is now facing up to 4 years in prison if convicted on the charge. Turkey's government faced an unprecedented wave of protest in 2013 against what protesters say authoritarian and conservative policies of Erdogan, who was the then prime minister. And that's the foreign scene. It's now back to Claire and Ibrahim.
All right, still in the festive season, let's take some time out to listen to some Christmas carols. It's part of Ngozi Chude's package on Arts and Entertainment.
Happy to see you guys again, and I'm sure by now boxes of gifts from loved ones and friends would be expected because it's Boxing Day. Well, still expecting mine, but while we wait for that, let's get you down memory lane where the carol you enjoy and savor started. It is indeed one tradition that is unique and soul-lifting. Let's start the story of the carol.
Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King.
One definitive characteristic of Christmas is the carol, which sometimes is also called a noel. Carols are lyrics on the theme of Christmas, which is traditionally sung during the holiday season.
As so brightly shining, yield us the night of a dear Savior's birth.
Carol is a medieval word of French and Anglo-Norman origin, believed to mean a dance song. Though it is unclear when the first carol was written, it is believed the first carol was sung in Europe. Former songs of the carol dates back to AD 129, called the Angelus Hymn. In Rome, other earliest carol songs followed. However, years after, it was just fragments of it that existed. During the 14th century, carols became a popular religious song with a theme revolving around a saint.
All right, while the jingle bells are still ringing, we do implore you to take advantage of the holiday today and, of course, the long weekend to unwind, of course, after you have opened your boxes of gifts, and hoping that Ibrahim and I will get some when we leave here. Here's wishing you the best of the season. Good morning, Nigeria returns on Monday.
That's right. For now, it's time to go practice what we preach, taking time out to relax and unwind. I intend to do that at least until I come back again in the evening. To have a lovely, lovely Boxing Day.
Bye for now.